I really wanted to take photographs and produce postcards and travel the world for the rest of my life. And that didn't quite happen. I was naively thinking I could make a living with postcards. My name is Patty Gower and I'm a Loyalist College photojournalism teacher. I spent a year traveling around, around Europe on a bike and by foot, and thought, wow, I wonder if I could spend the rest of my life doing this. So I, did the 2-year program at Loyalist College in photojournalism. When I graduated in second year, there was an internship at the Toronto Star and I applied for it, and it kind of just sort of segued from there. I was now working at the Globe and Mail, and they wanted me to do a story on just the habitats that people were living in the ravines of Toronto. So I was going around that day, and it really was quite, I knew it existed, but the numbers of people that were living in the ravines of Toronto was astounding. I meet this gentleman who's out there in Adidas shorts, bare feet, a singlet, and he said, well, do you want to see where I live? And he this was in the summertime, and so he sort of spread across the leaves, and I entered his house behind the trees, and it was magical. He collected things and hung them from trees. There was his bed open, just there under the stars, and I'm thinking, who is this man? Oh my gosh. So Fred Dunn entered my life, and he said, well, I train. And I'm looking at this skinny, scrawny guy, and I'm thinking, okay. He goes, yeah, I'm training to, compete in the 100-meter record for my age group. He proceeded to pick up this heavy metal, looked like a train rail, and he put it on his shoulder. He didn't even say anything to me. He picked it up, and he started to run with it on his shoulder. And I'm like, I wasn't prepared photographically. I've got my, camera there, and I'm, excuse my language, but I'm going, oh, fuck. And I'm panning, trying to get him and wondering technologically whether I've got my camera set right. And I'm chasing him around. The irony was when I was approaching him the very first time, I thought, well, I can run faster than this guy. This man was absolutely truthful with what he was saying. He absolutely was training. He ran 100 meters, sprinted it, he timed them all. At that moment, I went, who is this man who's living behind the trees in the ravines of Toronto, and look what he's doing. He's authentic, he's real. Fred took me to another level, and I don't even know if I could articulate that. The labels that we put on people are very limiting in how we view them, and we think that life should be lived in a certain particular way, and that somehow that there's a hierarchy, and that if you attain certain things that your life is more purposeful than someone else's. And Fred taught me that any life is purposeful no matter what they do. Fred was, not my first opportunity, certainly not my last, but where I had to look at someone that may have been labeled and was labeled. As I got to know Fred, he had many labels on him, that he wasn't that label. We often look at people in the world and we project our own biases on them. If I hadn't stopped, I may have looked at Fred and thought he was just another guy running, who had chosen to run on this track in the ravine and never known his story. For me, this is sort of segued into teaching. So teaching students about understanding what story is and how we can connect each other audience-wise to what makes that person human and why I should care about that life, that's huge, because that's not easy to understand. And that's my greatest struggle, I think, as a teacher is I can teach the technological stuff. I can teach this is how you use your camera, and this is how you think about light, and all of those things that I'm excited about and are important things. But how do you teach a student that someone's life's important? Philosophically, I could give 2 flying figs about a school and a name of a school. Life is your classroom. And if I can bring some of my life into the classroom and listen to some of the lives in the classroom, maybe we can make this profession live and understand.